of the comments was we should go back to the negotiating table, and I said, I'm happy to meet with you whenever, but the bottom line is, we still have to keep the needle dead center. We can't charge any costs that are associated with Manaway's service delivery for your customers back on Portage County customers. It's okay to use and share, but it's not okay to supplement your cost. And I think their council, in all honesty, their mayor for sure understands that.
Yeah.
It's just that message is
Gotta get out.
distorted. I have read everything that's come out of the hands of the people that are anti this, and they're not lying. They're absolutely not lying. They're just telling a part of the story that
By omission.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess you could
The
say
spin
that.
factor.
Yeah, exactly, and because of that, you're probably gonna get some calls, and by all means, if you have an answer, or don't have an answer to a question, please get a hold of us, we'll be happy to
Well,
help.
how is that gonna impact their the services, I mean, their bill, when they have to go to someone else to oversee the plan? I mean, I'm sure the village is not in a position to consume that. I would think that would be shared.
The mayor, and I think he was probably accurate in knowing what market value is for operators, they're looking at somewhere just south of $250,000 a year just for labor costs. You know, and if you split that between their water fund and their sewer fund, that's $120,000 each. We were doing it for roughly $40,000 each.
Oh,
But,
wow.
you know, we were charging everything it cost us to be there, but we don't have we're already paying for our medical, all that's included in our base, so we're charging them what the actual cost was. So, you know, we're not billed on profit, we're billed on cost.
So I guess, Jean, what's to negotiate with them? I mean, what?
Yeah.
They may come up with some idea we've not thought of. We're open to anything. One of the things they keep saying that is a sticking point for them is if what they've paid for decades, their plans.
It's paid for. Yeah.
They've paid for. Now they're in need of repairs, but 70% of the cost, roughly 2/3, just a little over 2/3, is out in their collection and distribution system. It's not in the plans. But suffice it to say, our estimates puts that somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million in the plans, that if that gets used outside their service area, which is outside their corporate boundaries, that they feel that they are entitled to some revenue stream from that. And
Do they know where it's gonna come from? I mean, do they have any ideas where the revenue's gonna come from? I mean,
well, I think their thought is if a new widget factory is built at Manaway Corners, that they should get some benefit for that if Manaway provides a service. And my point to them initially was it costs money to go from your end of line to Manaway Corners, and if we're paying for that, then I don't feel that our customers should have to subsidize. And if they have another alternative, for 40 years their plant's been oversized. It wasn't their fault. It's roughly twice, which we all know is required in the what's called the Green Book. We're required to design for 400 gallons a day for a residential unit. Our average residential customer uses 168, so built into the design requirements is twice the capacity. But then there's logic to that. You don't buy a car and just put the driver's seat in it and then wait and get the passenger seat when you're gonna have a passenger. You buy the car with all the seats, and it's the same kind of thing. So.
I know you just kind of answered this, but so the letter that the mayor forwarded to you, that you forwarded to us, about the county costs versus, like, basically the county is going to benefit in ways that are not factored into the fees being charged. What would you say back to that particular point that's being made?
For 40 years, they've had surplus capacity and never been able to use it.
Got it.
The analysis done not by Water Resource or the county, but statistically looking at where the increased number of residents are going to reside, Manaway is either zero or going negative. You know, and not a bunch. I mean, this isn't a horror story. Half a percent is still, you know, for them is maybe 40, 50 people, or maybe not more. If you're going to bank on this as a revenue stream, then there is none. as far as I'm concerned. And then the flip side is, who's gonna pay to expand this system? If it's gonna be shared by all our customers, should not all our customers share in the generation that occurs from that? It's just a philosophical difference.
Yeah.
I feel bad that your plants are bigger, but our plants are bigger. Not because we want to build them bigger, but because we're required to build them
Required
bigger.
to, and, yeah, because I read that one article a guy wrote in about the whole thing.
The editorial,
Mhm,
well,
the
he's a
editorial.
mechanical engineer. And
Yeah.
his only sticking point in all this is the fact that if the county sells water out of the Manaway facilities outside of the Manaway service area, the Manaway should get a benefit from that. And I keep coming back to who's gonna pay to expand that system? And of course, that's where we're open to anything. I mean, if it makes sense and keeps the needle close to equal, that's fine.
Okay.
So how does this operationalize? So Portage County staff support that has been pretty extensive, that's there today, is pulled out.
On December 27th,
Okay.
or before, we're fine
Mhm.
if it's before.
I mean, happy to help, phone calls probably.
And if they have meetings they want between now and then, I've even offered to go up and meet with the citizens and citizens groups not involving the council to explain, you understand part of the story, let's get to our system. Okay, we'll see what they want to do.
So Jean, did they have a plan B that if this did not work, that they were already in search of an operator for? Okay.
There's companies that actually perform the service.
Okay.
When we provided our statement of qualifications and proposal, the only other submitter was somebody to submit to operate. Their
Okay.
cost is roughly 3 times what we would charge them,
Sure.
so it wasn't a viable.
I just want to
alternative.
make sure that, you
They
know.
have a meeting today with a company, an operating company.
Okay,
John Leindecker's, as a matter of fact, up there right now.
okay.
They should.
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted
We're
to
not
make sure
bailing.
that, you
And
know.
they do have, the consulting firm that they have as their engineer, village engineer, they still have them on board, so.
Okay, okay. All right.
Something comes up and you don't have an answer, give us a call.
Thank
you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Joanne.
Call Joanne, yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of sun today. Did you guys see this? You guys should have had it on your desk about the ODNR. Remember they wanted us to create like a policy?
Oh, the honey?
Yeah.
I've got that. She's on her way. I brought her in.
Yeah, don't want to let John off for the cover, but.
Joanne's coming.
Are you in session?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you
Sign that.
revise a resolution for me? It's the one you just passed for Kelly Jo.
Okay. What is,
It looks like if you look down at the second resolve, the years were put in as 2021, 22, 23, 24, and 25,
Yeah.
and they should be 2020. 21, 22, 23, and 24.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to pass an amended revised resolution 19-0897 to read in its entirety as follows.
Its entirety need to be,
Oh, it should-
Spelled right.
I'm sorry, I'm rushing.
it's okay,
I will change that.
it's okay.
Okay, resolution of necessity for placing a renewal of a .49 mill levy for the benefit of the Portage County for the purpose of providing funds for the benefit of children services for the care, placement, treatment of abused, neglected, and dependent children.
Second.
roll call, Julie? Kathleen?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Vicky? Yes.
Do you wanna get that back to us real quick?
Yeah, do you know what number that would be?
And we'll sign it.
916.
And then the second one has to be
17.
numbered after this.
Okay.
So like make it 917. change
So we're
it.
using the same number, R17, right? Is that correct?
This is a new number, our
That's 916.
917. This is 16.
Yeah, and 16,
So this will now be resolution 916. The revised copy.
yes.
Let me change it, it's not up here right now.
Okay.
Why would the replacement be 16 and the other one's 17?
No, she's talking about the consent agenda. It
Oh,
was on the
okay.
consent agenda, number
Okay.
17.
What it was. Okay. Oh, and Joanne's coming?
Hey, Joanne.
Seems like I haven't been here for years.
You just couldn't wait to get here, right?
That's true. Considering the conversations I've already had this morning, this is gonna be tragic.
Oh, don't tell me.
Oh, no. I have a feeling I know what it's even about.
Oh, yeah. Nothing changes on Infirmary Road. All righty. On my agenda, the first issue was an email that I got from Amy with regard to hunting on county-owned property.
Yes.
In all my years here and then in my research, we've never posted anything saying people can hunt on our property or not. You know, it kind of surrounds with liabilities. You don't want to say, yes, hunt, and then somebody shoots somebody, we'd be
No,
in trouble.
No.
We do have some, I'm sorry? Or
damages property.
Yeah, we do have some property and it's like water resources where we have posted no trespassing, but that's all. So this person that's asking for, on, you know, DNR, if people are asking about our property, do we have hunting, we would just say we don't do anything with that, it's just blanket statement. Because there's
So we don't
nothing,
need a policy or anything.
No,
do we? I
no.
don't think so.
That's
no,
what they
Michelle,
were
like, just like
referring
Michelle
to.
says, we don't wanna,
Well, that's kind of what they're wanting now.
Yeah, that's what they had asked for, but.
we don't have a policy, we don't address it. If people, you know, and then like I said, well, how would you monitor anything like that anyway? You know, we don't have anybody going out there checking and seeing, so. I don't know if, so, do you want me to call this person and tell her that we don't, or do you want something formal, a letter going out from your office or something?
I think just a call would be sufficient.
Just a responding call, okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, it just seemed kind of like an overeager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An
okay,
HR employee, yeah,
okay.
call back.
All right. Next I have Hills Pond. Our appraiser is in the process still of getting everything done. He's gone out to the street, he's looked at the vacant lots. He's tried calling 3 of the owners to get permission to get on their site and walk through their houses if they allow him to. He wants to be able to wrap it up by the end of the year. That's still his goal. So that's the update that I have on that, other than the fact that I think it was Todd who told me that maybe Jim Greener is getting, and I have no idea what that might
Jim
be.
Greener asked me what was going on with this, and I
Yeah.
said, well, we
We're
don't have-
moving?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're moving forward. He said, well, he heard the residents are taking up a collection, which I have no idea what that's even for.
Yeah,
Collection for what?
I'm sure it's not gonna, to give us money to help take it
No,
out.
no, I'm sure it isn't, but I mean, I didn't ask any questions because I didn't want to
Yeah,
dig any deeper and.
Well, okay, so I was gonna say, I've seen Jim, but he never mentioned anything about any of that, so you don't know how far it goes
Yeah.
with the folks or
Right.
whatever.
So what happens, Joanne, if he does not get the permission from the 3 residents?
Well, then, the the only option that I'm aware of that you people would have would be eminent domain. And I don't know, he didn't give any kind of inkling that he thought there was gonna be an issue, you know, so.
Maybe they just weren't available to give. him
Exactly,
an
and that's
answer.
what I thought to myself, well, I hope they're not the kind that maybe go away for months at a time or something too.
Yeah,
So, I have it on my calendar to check with, you know, at the end of this month, I'll email him again and see how it's
Okay.
come out. But hopefully he will have at least have some more information for us.
Okay.
Well, now that brings me to the motor pool.
There's a couple of things here. The first issue that we have going on is the fact that because we own that property and we are not any longer using the gas tank, we are responsible for removing that. I said to Emerald Environmental, and they're the ones that I always use for this kind of work. They're local and they've done a great job for us in the past. I said, well, what if somebody wanted to buy it to use it as a service station and have that? And they said, well, we can't imagine that anyone would want to take on that liability because it's a 10,000 gallon tank that's
It'll still be
underground.
our liability 'cause
Right.
we owned it.
Well, just like the county engineer's facility,
Mhm.
we are still going through getting satisfying the state fire marshal's office on all of the issues that they keep coming back saying, well, now we need you to check this and to check that. And we don't own that property any longer either, but because it was ours originally. So I asked them, you know, what are we looking at a ballpark kind of figure to take that out of the ground? And they're looking at they think it would cost $10,000 to $15,000 to get it all removed. And if we're lucky, and we should be fine, I'm hoping. We've never had any leakage there since we replaced everything years ago when we took the bad tanks out. I'm hoping that there won't be any seepage into any of that ground, but then before, what we did was we took all of that land that was surrounding there and we took it out to Infirmary Road where we had property and we spread it out so that naturally it could get the bad things out, right. I'm not anticipating that we would have that here
Okay.
because we had all the monitoring controls and everything that we had on, but that definitely has to happen.
Worst case scenario. Yeah.
Correct. Secondly, I never did hear back from Water Resources if they were still interested in a possible use of part of that land as a lift station for the project that the Chin allotment project. I know that when I brought it to your attention, you guys were gonna say something to Gene, and I don't know if he ever responded, if they're still interested in it,
I think
or
the
if
last
they've moved
time
on.
I asked, there was still a possibility
Okay.
that I think Laura said that, and Jean were here. I thought they said there's still a possibility. You might want to reach out to them and just double
And see.
check.
Because, and it wasn't gonna be that they needed the whole property, it was like a corner maybe of the
Right.
parking lot or whatever there.
Right.
So then that leads me to the building. Water came in and they requested to get some of the files that Joe had out there on their vehicles. And I was like, well, you know, we haven't really let anything out yet, and I know
Are
that
we
where they're
settled
at.
as far as the inventory and everything?
Yeah,
I mean,
we're-
Joe's
And the
yes.
former
happy.
employee.
Well, I didn't go back to him and, you know, say anything about, here's what I found you do or don't, you know, that
Okay.
you're not missing, because
Okay. So is he still thinking he's got stuff there? I mean,
the microwave for sure, and I don't know, the tool issue, I don't know how you can discern whether it was personal or not personal. And I know the day that we closed it, he and Eric had ample time to get all of their stuff, so that could be a little bit dicey yet. But, so they had a request for those files, and I said, well, we haven't really let anything out yet, but there's a couple things I need to check, because I wanted to verify if there was a record retention schedule from the motor pool, and of course there was. And the majority of Joe's files all say, with the state, once you sell the vehicle, then you can get rid of the records.
Oh,
So, but the one thing that I don't know, and I think it'll just be a call to the state unless you guys happen to know this, is because it was the motor pool's record retention schedule, can we give these to someone else?
it's
Or-
under there.
Like, can we give what the vehicles that they'd like to have it watered, those files with, and what does it do to the record retention schedule of that motor pool? Or because we're closing it, or it has been closed, is that
We go to
negated?
the record retention of water resources, then, I mean, I don't know.
That's what I don't know either, and I think that's just gonna take a call down to this, because I would hate
I would
to
call
give those
Chris
records to
McGee.
anybody, I'm sorry?
I would call Chris.
Yeah,
and
I check with the
Oh, Chris, okay.
Yeah.
I would hate to give them to somebody and then all of a sudden, somebody make a public records request and say, you know what, I'd like to see, and we don't have
Right.
So that was one other little holdup that I thought. And then I just talked to Todd and I said, you know, my original thoughts were always to let our maintenance department and like EMA, who don't really have budgets for equipment, to go in there and, you know, because I have a guy who is certified in welding. You know, he's a maintenance too, but this, you know, if we start to use him for welding and there's equipment down there that we could get and bring to maintenance, that would help boost him to a 3-person, you know, a maintenance 3 kind of thing, whatever. But I'd like them to be able to look at some of that equipment. It's been purchased by the county. I'd like to keep the stuff in the county to the departments that need it, recognizing that maintenance doesn't have a budget for that. And EMA sometimes, you know, their money is tight. And then after that, look at the Bill Steiner, look to water resources, what could they use? And let our county departments have it. And then I said to Todd, whatever's left, maybe we want to entertain bringing an auctioneer, having them sell your building and sell the contents in it and the property, unless we know that water resources wants part of it. I mean, that's an option.
I don't think you can bring an auctioneer to sell the building though.
I don't know that. I'd have to go in and see. I mean,
Check
we've
with Chris. I
we've
don't,
had auctioneers auction off our contents
contents, yes.
at various
the-
problems, but I
for the
don't.
building.
I
don't
wanted
think
to say there was something when I looked before about that, and we just have never gone that route. We've always done the sealed bid when it comes to building or land.
Well, the reason I know that is because we ask about the regional planning.
And he said you couldn't?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So.
But that's where that's at, so those are my thoughts. I don't know how you guys want to
I
proceed
think that
here.
sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
And get that moving, so, I mean, so that. if
Well,
there's
find
stuff
out
in
from
there
water
that-
first, if they're gonna
The
want that
piece,
property,
yeah.
because that'll take a little bit. And then the first thing I think we need to do is get rid of that underground tank before we try. I mean, that's not gonna stop getting rid of the equipment that's inside there
No.
that could use, but, okay. Well, now probably the most exciting topic is the record center.
Oh,
And when I say exciting, it's because it has so many fingers, it's not funny. But NDS was the one who came to me originally, and so Stacy came back and she said, well, her client is asking for a time frame. They'd like to know how long it would be till they could have keys to the building and an estimated time frame for ownership. We could have 2 separate dates in a written agreement, if, you know, she goes, and when I had told her, I said, well, you know, we'd have to do an appraisal of the building.
I was gonna say, we don't have a price or anything
Well,
yet.
no,
do we?
well,
yeah, we got a
and
whole process.
we just can't say, NDS, here it is, you can buy it, or your client can buy it. We'd have to put it out
the
for
bid.
sealed bids,
Right.
you know, but that's the smallest issue.
Oh,
The biggest issue that I see is that
what are we doing with all our stuff?
I got as much information and talked to Iron Mountain, 'cause that was one of the places that, you know, we know will take records, and they microfilm and they do that kind of thing, and then they also will destroy things for you, whatever.
And they also
Well-
deliver in a day if somebody needs something,
Well-
right?
Yeah, and I've got the prices on that too.
Oh.
So everything they do is in cubic feet. Our typical small box that's about 15 by 12 by 10, the ones that you see normally that everybody uses. If we have approximately 7,000 boxes on just the top floor, it's just right around $5,000 for them to store that many boxes.
How often? I mean, how, like a year or how, 5,000?
Well, in my mind, when we send our files there, and that's another thing that's gonna have to happen, those boxes would need to be very strictly marked. These can never be destroyed, or this can be destroyed in 2025 or whatever,
Mhm.
so that we're not building up a surplus there like we've done out
Here,
at the,
yeah.
out there. They're very strict about, you know, you can't just send any kind of box out there that's dilapidated. It needs to have, you know, the lids and all that great kind of stuff. And so that was just the storage. To receive-
5,000
oh.
a what, Joanne? 5,000 a year?
5,000, this will be carton storage, this would be their, hold on. Storage minimum is $180 a month, initial move of the cartons. That was for standard storage and services, so everything that I've ever seen from them is monthly.
Okay.
Yeah,
5,000 a month?
Well, for all our,
that's for 7,000 boxes because that's what I used.
Okay,
As you know, just something to tick off these numbers.
okay.
So
So
that's
that-
60,000 a year for storage.
And then for them to receive and enter the cartons like into their computer system, that's $2.87 a cubic foot. That's another,
afterwards or initially as well?
Initially.
Okay.
that's $24,000 for that piece. So then, they also give prices on moving the cartons to
That's a one-time fee, that one is.
the moving the cartons.
24,000.
Yeah. And so would be the receiving and entering, that's gonna be a one-time fee too.
Okay.
To move stuff to them, for those, like 7,000 boxes, it's 10,500. They also then charge $65.35 an hour for the move.
How much an hour?
$65.35 an hour to move. And I didn't ask him how many hours he thought 7,000 boxes would take. Now, when we're talking about retrieval services, regular retrieval, if we're telling them we need this whole box brought back, it's $3.61 a cubic foot. So that's, I didn't multiply that out, but one box is 1.2 cubic feet, so it's a little over the $3.61 to bring it back here. If we would ask for just a file from the carton, it's $4.83 just for that file to come out. Then they have a refiling of the carton. They have a refiling of the file, obviously. Those are all different prices. And then now I'm going to talk about the judge who wants something, or anybody that wants something retrieved. A rush retrieval, $7.65 a cubic foot. A file from a carton on rush is $10.20 for the file. And then to file them back, of course, is a cost. But that is just pulling the items. If you want it sent here within a half a day, it's $66.75. If you want it rush delivery on a business day, it's $132.30. If you're asking for delivery on weekends and holidays with after hours, which I wouldn't think any of our people would ask for, that's $265.70. Plus a handling charge, which that could come from anybody who's picking and retrieving those up. So, giving all these different kinds of prices, and I'm like, well, my first reaction was, well, now I've got to go out and see if there's like a state contract that covers this, or this is like the kind of service that I would have to bid out because we're going to hit $50,000 before anything
Oh, yeah,
happens.
Yeah.
Well, the state doesn't have a contract that way. And I called my contact person that sent me some of this pricing, and I left a message for him, and he did not respond to me yet about, is there any kind of contract? I have so many different consortiums that I belong to that there might be one out there that's covered by this, or that covers this. But it's could be pricey depending on how many files we actually have to send there. But moreover, then the next layer of complicity, as far as I see, is that all of these records belong to